Welcome in to the 247 Sports YouTube channel for another massive day at Commit HQ. Today, we are headed to Duncanville, Texas to bring you not one, but two live commitments back to back. The headliner is five-star edge Colin Simmons, the number 27 overall ranked prospect, is joined by his Duncanville teammate and four-star running back Caden Durham, who is the 12th overall ranked back in the 2024 class. Both will be making their college commitments live right here on the 247 Sports YouTube channel. It's a good time as any to remind you to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss big days like today. Also, hit that like button so we know that you're watching. We told you a little bit about the prospects, but now we're going to bring in our Director of Recruiting, Steve Wiltfong, to give us the last minute updates, everything that we need to know as we are just minutes away from finding out where these two blue chippers are going. Steve, let's start with Caden Durham. His finalists are LSU, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. What do we need to know ahead of this announcement?
Officials of those programs also took one to UTSA. I love where LSU stands, Emily, going into this announcement. This is their top target at the running back position. They got him to campus numerous times, including the spring game in April and then here again at the end of July. There was a times where perhaps Oklahoma maybe had some momentum, but led by Frank Wilson's efforts on the trail, LSU's the one to beat going into this announcement for this very explosive, every down running back.
Yeah, LSU did get that last impression, as we like to call it. How much of a difference can that make when he's set to make his decision here in a couple of minutes, knowing that LSU was that last place that he was able to visit?
Well, they had him on campus all weekend, and the funny thing about that weekend, LSU and Texas A&M, they're such rivals on the recruiting trail, Emily, that they both have big visits that weekend, and it's like a matter of getting that young man to come to your campus on Friday, and then you don't let them leave till Sunday, so they don't make it to the other campus before the dead period hits. But LSU got the last word with Caden Durham in person, and I just think that everything that's added up through the course of his process, where they prioritized him, how many times they've got him there, the fit, the relationship with Frank Wilson, they're in phenomenal shape going into this announcement.
All right, let's talk about his teammate, the five-star edge, Colin Simmons. His finalists are Texas, LSU, and Miami. Where are you leaning?
This one has been so exciting to follow behind the scenes. When you tap into the sources, there are more of them that are predicting Texas here. And I know after his official visit the weekend of June 23rd, he gave folks in Austin a lot of confidence they were going to land him. You know, talking to Colin's family, talking to his mom, she brought up the move to the SEC and how that means a lot for Colin. He has a close relationship with Steve Sarkisian, Coach Banks, and that staff. He talked about the staff having a track record of player development at other schools. And she also talked about this program being on the cusp of being a championship team. Colin could help with that. And then you see all these Texas players tweeting about this announcement right now, so they feel good there. But look, LSU, I love their position last summer, Emily. Still like their position after he visited for the spring game in April. And similar to Texas, I know he gave LSU a lot of reasons to feel good following that visit at the end of July. He was there with Caden Durham all weekend. And even into yesterday, Emily, I think that Colin was giving LSU reasons to feel good about their chances at today's announcement. That's why it's a little murky. And then you have Miami. Mario Cristobal and company got Colin to campus in the spring, got him on an official visit in the summer. Jason Taylor, what he did as a player, the kind of man he is, that really resonated with Colin and his family. That's a guy that they could see Colin playing for. And I know that I know that Colin was corresponding with Miami Tuesday night as well. So the door not shut on the Hurricanes. We've seen Mario Cristobal and company rally in recruitment so many times in his career. So most of the intel, or most of the sources, they believe Texas, but there are sources that still like LSU's chances, and then you don't sleep on Miami. So this one's going to be fun.
I mean, this is crazy. All of those programs are feeling confident, so we really have no idea what's going to happen. Steve, it was really fun in the office today. There was a lot of debate, and things would change every hour. We were feeling, maybe Texas, maybe LSU, maybe Miami. Why do you think that this is such a tight race to win the edge, Colin Simmons?
Well, I think that Colin's just left the door open for all these programs here leading up to his announcement today. talking to one source that was kind of outside of all three of the programs, they thought from Sunday to Tuesday, it was all Texas. But again, talking to some sources around LSU, even on Wednesday, Simmons camp giving them reason to believe that they have a great shot of landing him today. And then again, still corresponding with Miami as of Wednesday evening, heading into the announcement. So, oftentimes you feel good about a prediction or the pulse of a recruitment because behind the scenes, the young man has basically shut things down. But here with Colin Simmons, he has maintained communication and said promising things to so many programs here as he steps to the table here in a little bit.
It's easy to look at him and say, well, he's a 5-star and he's an edge. So that's a very important position for any football team to add. But Steve, what could a player like this potentially add to whatever program he chooses and their class as a whole? What sort of momentum could this bring?
Well, he's a ferocious player around the line of scrimmage. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know he had like 23 sacks. He was absolutely dominant in the state championship game. They don't win that ball game without him making big plays, forced a key turnover, if I remember correctly, in the fourth quarter. So he's just a game changer that plays ferocious. I think he had like 60 quarterback hurries, over 30 tackles for loss. So he lives in the backfield, plays with the motor, coveted at the position. When you're Texas and you look at the way they've recruited the front seven the last two cycles, I think that really across the board, they've recruited a lot of SEC caliber players, beat SEC programs in their backyard for some of those young men that are on their roster. And Colin Simmons is a player that's absolutely coveted by players or by teams that they would have to beat in the SEC to win a national championship. And Colin Simmons is that kind of talent. For LSU, you're just trying to build off the season that Brian Kelly had. We know that they're a national championship caliber program year in and year out. They've won some big recruiting battles like Harold Perkins out of the Lone Star State. So they're trying to win another one here for Colin Simmons. And then Miami, they've focused on the D-line is their focus this cycle. O-line was their focus last cycle. And obviously they're recruiting other positions, but putting a lot of resources into defensive line recruiting. And as Mario Cristobal and company try and restore glory in Coral Gables, Colin Simmons is obviously a mega talent that would be an instant impact player for them as early as next season.
All right, I got the stats in front of me. 22.5 sacks. Seems like a typo. That is absolutely insane production. Wherever he heads will certainly make a big impact. Steve, thank you for the latest. Excited to find out where he is headed. Again, we genuinely do not know. So this is going to be a very exciting day for all of us here. Make sure that you're tuning in to the College Football Recruiting Show later today right here on the 247 Sports YouTube channel. You can tune in at 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern. You'll see another segment from Steve Wiltfong because he has all the intel on every prospect all across the country. And the Wiltfong Whip Around is one of our favorite segments that we do. So be sure to tune in to listen to more on what he has to say on what's happening in the recruiting world. You've also got Auburn, absolutely dominant on the trail right now under Hugh Freeze. Have not played a game with him as the head coach yet, but they are doing a lot of work in the offseason. And finally, UCF, a bit of a sleeper here. They are at the top of the Big 12 in recruiting already. Again, have not even played a game in a Power 5 conference yet as a member of the Big 12, but a lot of excitement. So be sure to tune in this afternoon at 5 o'clock Eastern for the College Football Recruiting Show. We got to talk a little bit more about these upcoming commitments today. So let's bring in some of our analysts here. We got national recruiting analyst Cooper Patagna, and then look at that, our director of scouting, the man that puts the stars next to all of these prospects, of course, with all the help of our scouting team. It's Andrew Ivins. Andrew, thanks so much for being here. Let's start with Caden Durham. You look at the size, 5'9". To some people, that might raise some eyebrows. Certainly plays a lot bigger than that. The 195 pounds helps that. But what is the scouting report on Caden Durham?
He's got speed. We're talking about 10 sub-11-second efforts in the 100-meter dash. That is the all-important threshold. You want to be under 11. He has done it 10 different times this past spring. Had like a 10.25. That wasn't win legal, but the 10.49 was when legal. I think when you look at Caden, his ability to quickly pick a lane, and then when he gets to that second level, he is super elusive. Safeties, corners, linebackers, they all try to take angles, and he will quickly eliminate them. And then you're talking about a kid who ran for over 1,900 yards last season. He had at least 6 touchdown runs of 50-plus yards. He's a big play waiting to happen. You mentioned he's on the smaller side. Yeah, that could be a knock to some, but he kind of reminds me a little bit of Tajay Spears, who was running back 1 for Tulane this past season, went on to get selected day 2 of the NFL draft. This is a guy I think, place him in a committee type of role, get him in space, and he's going to find daylight, find a crease. One area of the game where I think he needs to improve a little bit is as a pass catcher. You'd like to see his ability to be in there as a third down back, but Caden Durham, by far one of the most productive guys, has done it against elite competition there in the Lone Star State. And again, you're seeing it here in the footage. I mean, when he is in the open field, it is hard to get him to the ground. So someone is going to get a very talented running back prospect here in the next couple of minutes.
And for those watching us, don't worry, you have not missed anything. We are all anxiously awaiting to find out where Caden Durham is headed and Colin Simmons. There they are, getting ready to make their announcement at Duncanville High School in Texas. They got family and friends right now. There's some speeches going on between the principal of the school, the athletic director, and the head coach. You can tell that they're excited, just as excited as we are here. But let's talk a little bit more about what we are about to see. Cooper, you got the finalists for Caden Durham. Where are you leaning as we're getting ready to go today?
I like LSU as the best on-field fit. Frank Wilson, who Steve mentioned, the running back coach at LSU, has done a tremendous job. This guy has been the #1 target on their board. But you think about LSU, Brian Kelly, Mike Denbrock, the way they want to really control the line of scrimmage. And you look at that offensive line, I mean, they are anchored by Will Campbell on the left side, Emory Jones on the right side, DJ Chesters, the Lance Hurd they brought in 2023. They have one of the best offensive line units in the country. And then you think about the running backs. John Emery Jr. gone after this season. You think about Josh Williams gone after this season. Noah Cain as well. So they're going to lose a lot of production. They brought in Logan Diggs from Notre Dame, also have some young guys and Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly that are going to provide a little bit of a punch. But Andrew talked about it. When you got a guy that can run sub 10.3, it doesn't matter what the size is, 5'9", 195 pounds. He's a north-south guy, and I think he fits behind what LSU wants to do. So I think this is going to be a guy, because of the speed, his game-breaking ability, he's going to be able to play early. I think LSU is going to have one of the best offensive line units in the country next year. I think he's a great fit in Baton Rouge.
All right, still waiting his decision. Let's talk about Colin Simmons, the 5-star edge. Andrew, I joke that you give out the 5 stars. You, of course, do not do it alone. We've got a whole scouting team that has been watching him since he was just a young buck in high school and seeing his development. So he did earn that 5-star status, the 27th player in the class. So what is it that you and the rest of the scouting team liked so much about Colin Simmons?
Well, he's number 27 for us. He's number 4 edge rusher. I think when this is all said and done, he's a guy that can move up in the rankings. And we're going to see him at the All-American Bowl in San Antonio this upcoming winter. I think that's going to be an important evaluation. But when we're talking about a stand-up pass rusher, right, a 3-4 jack linebacker, I don't think there's a player with a higher floor in the class. And Colin Simmons is probably the best. And, he's 6'3", 225 pounds. I think it's his ability to blend his elite get off with his flexibility. I mean, he can get around the corner, he can change directions, and I think what makes him so dangerous is his ability to just find a crease, right? If an offensive tackle, and it could be an athletic offensive tackle, if he's going to give him the inside, Colin Simmons is going to take it. If they're going to give him the outside, he's going to take that as well. And his ability to string together counter moves is elite. You mentioned the astronomical production. I mean, 22.5 sacks over a 15-game season. That you can times that by 2 when it comes to the quarterback hurries. This is a guy that can get home. He has done it at an elite level. And I think there's still some more meat left on the bone in terms of his ability to fine-tune some of those pass rushing moves. So one of our favorite guys here in the cycle. Look at the edge rushers ahead of him. Probably some more guys that you're going to put the hand in the dirt. But when we're talking about a stand-up edge rusher with the burst, the ankle flexion, Colin Simmons has all those tools. And again, I'm interested to see where he's going. I mean, you got these 3 schools right here. I think all of them have needs. Jason Taylor at Miami. Why would you not want to learn from him? And then obviously when we know what they're doing at LSU and Texas. So I'm intrigued. I want to know what's going to happen here because I've been getting the same text messages regarding Colin Simmons.
Yes, again, we are awaiting his decision. They're having a ceremony right now. This is a really big day for both of those athletes, and so they are going to do it right. But we will take you there live as soon as they are getting ready to make their official announcements. Cooper, you heard it. LSU, Texas, and Miami. Which program do you think is the best fit for this five-star edge?
I struggle with this. I went back and forth between Texas and LSU. Really, at the end of the day, Texas, LSU, Miami, as Andrew mentioned, they all need him. But you look at LSU, and with B.J. Ojulari last year, second-round draft pick of the Arizona Cardinals, you had Harold Perkins, who was a breakout star freshman as well, the former five-star. You would think that Matt House, defensive coordinator at LSU, would have really kind of solved the riddle in terms of his pass rush. They didn't. They were 41st in total defense, 87th in tackle for loss, 80th in sacks produced. Now, they did a good job in the 23 cycle. They got five-star Deshaun Womack, a couple other guys, Jackson Howard as well. But I love the exotic packages that Matt House has put together. So I like LSU.
All right.
First, I like to thank the man above. Without him, none of this be possible. Then, I like to thank my mom for always being there for me, because she sacrificed a lot of her time for me to be on here today. Next, I thank my dad for introducing me to the game and giving me all the tools in life to be successful. I like to thank my godmom and my family and friends for being there for me when I was down. Also, I like to thank my aunt for answering the phone when I needed him. You know, we like them. I got you. I want to thank all the coaches from Little League, middle school, high school, like Coach Hyde, Coach Marcus, Coach Terry, Coach Wright, then Coach Sim, Coach Odell, Coach Martinez, Coach B. Money, Coach Brown. Then I want to thank the track coaches and the athletic trainers, especially Ms. C. I want to thank the principal, the teachers, but last but not least, I want to thank Ms. Bush for being there for me since my sophomore year. You know, academics, sports, and just life in period. You know, always been someone I come and talk to, no matter the situation. But with that being said, for the next 3 to 4 years, I'm taking my time to school. Okay. We're going. We're going. Pop him.
I love it. There you have it. Four-star running back Caden Durham has picked LSU with a little help from his friend. The 12th ranked back will suit up for the Tigers. Coop, let's bring it back here in studio. I mean, what can he bring to LSU?
Well, Andrew talked about a sub 10-4 running back in Caden Durham, a guy that can really break the game open. That's what you're going to get with LSU, Caden Durham in that backfield. So a guy north-south can really change the game in a hurry. That's what I like about Caden Durham. He should be an impact player day one.
Yeah, Andrew, we talked about what would be a potential best fit. I had to cut off Cooper because we were set to see the announcement. But from your point of view, what do you think he can add to this Tigers offense?
On the offensive line, they played 2 young tackles there last year. They got another one coming in, Zalance Hurd, Brian Kelly, Mike Denbrock. They were going to have a lot of 2 tight end sets. I like what they took last year at running back. Now you're adding Caden Durham to the fold. I mean, they're going to have a committee type of approach there in Baton Rouge. Huge pickup for the Tigers.
All right, a very exciting announcement. Again, we are still awaiting the announcement from five-star edge Colin Simmons. We are getting ready to go there, but we are still reacting to the news that Caden Durham will be heading to LSU. Is there a potential here, Cooper, that we could see maybe his teammate join him there as well? What are we feeling ahead of Colin Simmons' announcement? Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, that's what we talked about, the fit, right? Caden Durham. And then obviously Colin Simmons. There's been a lot of buzz that those two could play together in Baton Rouge. So listen, if you're Brian Kelly and LSU, you got 1 or 2 right now. This is the one that everybody's got their eyes on, and Colin Simmons. So certainly a possibility. As soon as what we all know right now is this one's up in the air. So we'll see what happens. But Colin Simmons would be the cherry on top and be a heck of a finish on this Thursday for Brian Kelly.
All right. Once again, Colin Simmons set to make his announcement any minute now. He is at Duncanville High School. I think they have their setups like right next to each other. And so that seemed like a very full arena there. Excited to find out where Colin Simmons is headed. Andrew, I want to ask you another question about him because we look at the production. We said the 22.5 sacks. There's, of course, total in his career, 34.5 in just 2 years playing. So how quickly can he potentially make an impact for wherever he is headed next?
Looks like he's going right now.
Oh, no, I don't think we're ready for him yet. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the edge rushers, I mean, we saw it last year with Harold Perkins at LSU. I mean, these guys, you can get them as situational pass rushers, and that's the easiest way to get them on the field. Third down packages, get exotic fronts. I think Colin Simmons, again, his elite takeoff is there. Needs to fine-tune the pass rushing moves a little bit, but I think he has the tools to be on the field somewhere in 2024. Just a matter of getting the bearings underneath him, preparing for life in the SEC.
Coop, what about you? How quickly can he make his transition to whatever Power 5 conference he chooses or whatever Power 5 looks like in a couple of years?
Immediately. That's why he's ranked where he's ranked. He's a 5-star. This is a guy who's a plug and play, whether it's Texas, Miami, LSU, doesn't matter at all. I think Colin Simmons is ready to play. 22.5 sacks, doing it at the highest level, 6A football in Texas. He's ready, mate. He's ready to go.
He is ready to go. We are waiting until he is ready to go and make his announcement again. His finalists are Texas, Miami, and LSU. His teammate, Caden Durham, just announced that he will be headed to play for the LSU Tigers. We'll see if we got another Tiger in the fold with the Duncanville teammates. They certainly had a lot of success in their junior seasons for Duncanville, 15-0, a state championship. It does not get better than that. Certainly whatever program they head to next is hoping that they can bring maybe some of those winning ways. And here he is making his announcement, Colin Simmons.
I give a speech. Absolutely. It's okay.
Whew, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'd like to give honor and glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I wouldn't be here where I'm at like without him. I'd like to thank my family, especially my late great grandmother, Laura Mae Thomas, my late grandfather, Paul Clarkson, who instilled in me the courage and strength to be great, who also were the first ones to have faith and believe in me. I'd like to thank my grandmother, Mona Clarkson, for her unwavering prayers. Shout out to my aunts, Ari and Gabby Clarkson. Shout out to all the coaches who've invested in me, guided, and developed in me since Little League to high school, especially my Little League coach, Coach Lona. And my head football coach, Coach Reginald Samples. And my position coach, and also Coach Gabriel. I also want to give thanks to my steppops who made me play football even though I didn't want to. I cried for like 2 weeks straight, I swear. Shout out to my second family. I know who y'all are. I wouldn't be here without y'all. I promise you I wouldn't be. Shout out to my, last but not least, shout out to my little bro who inspires me to continue to outwork me. Shout out to my little brother who inspires me to continue to outwork myself every day. And to my beautiful queen, my mother, Miss Monica, who has supported me and guided me in every dream I've had, who stood by my side no matter what, who's done the best to raise me since birth. My brother and my mother are my why I continue to wake up and better myself each and every day and be the best person that I know I can be. I love y'all. With that being said, I'd like to announce my commitment to the
You're right, brother.
that right there. Give me that. Do it again. Thank God.
Wow, breaking news. Colin Simmons has picked Texas. The 5-star edge will play his college ball for the Longhorns. A huge congratulations for him and for the Longhorns. What a get for them. All right, we are getting ready to bring in Hank South of Horns 247 to talk a little bit more about this commitment because what an absolute victory for Texas. Again, his finalists were Miami and LSU. Not sure where he would pick, but him and his teammate Caden Durham switching a little bit. Caden Durham is going to LSU and Colin Simmons is headed to Texas. Again, we are waiting to hear from our team site reporter, Hank South of Horns 247. But in the meantime, I got an analyst right here. What was your reaction, Coop? We were like anxiously trying to figure out which hat, what color, all of that. But first off, Coop, what do you think? Texas. Colin Simmons.
I thought it was going to be Miami. We went through the hats. It was LSU, it was Texas. Then he took out another Texas hat. So, no, this was huge for Texas. We talked about Texas. They had to get this done. Steve Sarkisian needed to get this done. Listen, they are getting a heck of a player and a guy that they need at a substantial position of need. They got some talent there, but they don't have anybody like Colin Simmons. So, from a football player perspective, this is a really big get. But from the 35,000-foot view, Steve Sarkisian going to the SEC in 2024, you need to keep your best players home. You want to contend in that conference. You want to contend nationally. That's how you do it. Give a lot of credit to Steve Sarkisian and his staff.
Real quick, Andrew, I want to get your reaction. Texas for Colin Simmons. You've been tracking this recruitment for a long time. What do you think?
Well, in theory, right, 5-star in-state pass rusher, this should be a layup. But with how recruiting has become, it's so national. And I think for Texas, Steve Sarkisian, this is a bit of a flex as they move into the SEC. I anticipate seeing more of these battles between LSU and Texas for the top talent. And Cooper said it. We talked about it earlier today as well when we met. Just the need for the Longhorns, right? They have, I don't want to say a glaring hole, but you looked at what they took in the class of 2023. Most of the quote-unquote difference makers were in the offensive side of the ball. Now they followed up here in 2024 with Colin Simmons, who, again, we think is one of the best edge players in terms of a jack linebacker. I would anticipate him coming in early in Austin and seeing the field. I think you compare him with a guy like Anthony Hill. So huge pickup for Texas. It's hard to find these premium pass rushers because if you don't get them in high school, then you're looking in the transfer portal and everyone wants the same few guys. So kudos to Steve Sarkisian, his staff there. This is a massive addition, and really it's going to make life in the SEC that much easier with Texas moving there in 2024.
Andrew, Cooper, thank you both so much for being here and helping us react to this huge news. Colin Simmons is headed to Texas, and that is now where we are headed to get some intel here from Hank South of Horns 247. Hank, you hear the guys talking about it and just how important this is for the transition to the SEC. I mean, what can this type of player, a 5-star pass rusher, add to this Longhorns defense?
Yeah, if you look at Texas, this is kind of almost the missing piece. Getting one of these elite edge rushers that, they had success getting to the quarterback, but not really finishing last year. And you kind of look towards entering the SEC, you need to affect the quarterback. You need to bring the quarterback down, and Colin Simmons can certainly do that. Texas is recruiting him more as kind of their buck linebacker, a guy that can, rush the passer, but also drop back into coverage, do a lot of things. And like Cooper mentioned earlier, he's ready to play. I would expect him to come in and make an impact in Austin year one. So massive pickup for this defense, something this cycle was missing so far for the Longhorns. They were working on defensive linemen. Now they were able to add an elite edge rusher, the number one player in the state, in Colin Simmons. So massive pickup for Texas.
All right. The natural next question is, when you get a big-time prospect like this, is who's next, Hank? Who should we keep our eye out for going ahead.
Yeah, and you know, commitments like these can always kind of, you know, spawn some more recruiting momentum. You know, you could see more guys make their decisions. You know, guys want to play with elite guys, and certainly Colin Simmons fits that bill. But, you know, Texas has a few guys that seem like they could be close. I think you start immediately with Dominic McKinley, the 247 Sports 5-star defensive lineman from Lafayette, Louisiana. He's a guy that we've reported is set to make a decision on September 1st. And that's a guy that Texas, LSU as well, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, some other big-time schools are pushing for, and would certainly like to add him to the fold and kind of wrap up this defensive line class strong. Sticking with the defensive line class, and another SEC battle that we'll find out here in a couple days is T.J. Lindsey he's at IMG Academy. He's originally from Arkansas. He's announcing a decision, I believe, on August 12th, and that's going to be between Texas and Auburn. Auburn kind of has the buzz right now, so we'll see. But Texas has recruited him very heavily. He officially visited in June, and a guy they really like. Moving beyond those guys, I think you kind of turn towards the secondary with Wardell Mack, the 4-star cornerback from Louisiana, and then Kobe Black, the 5-star cornerback from Waco, Texas. Two guys I think Texas is in strong position for as well. So this could be an exciting couple weeks for Texas fans. Obviously, the season's starting. Coming up, and some potential announcements that could be made prior to or right at the beginning of the season.
Hank, you hate to think this way, but we bring in our director of recruiting, Steve Wiltfong, just a couple minutes ago. He had no idea where this commitment was headed. There are a lot of big-time programs that were in the market for Colin Simmons. Texas is the winner, but as we know, still months to go until signing day. So how important is what Sark and company are able to produce on the field this season in order to lock up a commitment like Colin Simmons?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely important, and that goes for other recruitments as well. You know, you look at a guy like Micah Hudson, the 5-star wide receiver that's been trending to Texas Tech. You know, if Texas can put a nice season together and you know, they have the wide receivers to do that and to kind of show off to Micah Hudson, maybe that could change something. But with Colin Simmons, you know, obviously I think he committed to Texas for a reason. I think he feels very strongly about Texas and sees the impact he could have in Austin pretty quickly. But you still want to win. You don't want to have negative headlines. You don't want to go through a slump in the third year under Steve Sarkisian, and then hope another team might not come take him off your commitment list. So definitely want to win games, want to have success on the field this fall. But at the same time, if he could still see a need for himself, that could also be a positive for Texas as well.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen, but today Texas fans are celebrating Colin Simmons is headed to the Longhorns. Hank South of Horns 24/7 was our guest. Thank you so much for all that great perspective. Be sure to check out his work and the whole team at Horns 24/7 for all things Texas and, of course, all things recruiting. All right, there was a commitment that happened before Colin Simmons, and that is Caden Durham. So we want to bring in Sonny Ship from Go 24/7 to talk a little bit more about this addition to the Tigers. A huge get for Brian Kelly. What can he bring to this offense?
Well, he's going to bring a lot of speed. I know Andrew at the beginning got a lot of speed. I think it was something in the 53 within 100 meters. That he runs terrific speed. He's going to also run track and back. And you got to give that another kind of little bonus when you look at how LSU landed him. Because the idea to be able to play football at an elite level, run track at an elite level as well. I think that kind of helped push LSU over the top as well.
All right, Sonny, thank you so much for that great perspective. Make sure to read all of the great work that he does at Go 24/7 because I'm sure that you and the whole team will be covering this commitment very closely of all the reaction and quotes from Caden Durham. Again, he committed today to LSU. A lot of excitement for the Tigers and, of course, for the Longhorns landing the 5-star edge, Colin Simmons. Cooper, I mean, LSU, that is, of course, your neck of the woods. You know that program very well. We've talked a lot about the speed and what he can bring to LSU, but how long is it going to take for him to make an impact? Because we've seen some Tiger freshmen come on and make an impact in year one under Brian Kelly. So how long do Tiger fans need to wait to see Durham?
I don't think very long. And listen, like the one thing that translates is dynamic speed. We keep talking about it, right? It's kind of like a moot point. He can run. And this is a guy that's a north-south runner. It's one cut. he fits what LSU wants to do. They're going to be a traditional 12 personnel team, play with 2 tight ends with the addition of Kamari and Pimpton. They want to own the line of scrimmage. I talked about the offensive line play. That's going to be a big part of what they do and the identity that Brian Kelly really wants to usher in Baton Rouge. So you think about the production leaving the building in Baton Rouge. I mentioned a couple of those names. They got a lot of young talent. But the good thing about this running back room that Frank Wilson has assembled, they're complementary pieces. Caleb Jackson is a big physical north-south back. You look at guys like Trey Holly, change of pace, can do a little bit of everything, can catch the ball well out of the backfield. And this is a guy right here that can break the game open for you in a hurry. So I like Caleb Durham. I like that addition. Like I said, I mean, their number one running back on the board wasn't Taylor Tatum, who was the number one running back in the country. It wasn't Jarrett Gibson. It was Caleb Durham. They had to have this guy, and they got him. So big addition. I know they're excited about him. I think he'll play early in Baton Rouge.
Looking forward to it. 4-star running back Caden Durham has committed to LSU, and 5-star edge Colin Simmons has picked the Texas Longhorns. An exciting day here on the 247 Sports YouTube channel. Another reminder to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss big events like what happened today. We do this all the time. We got more live commitments coming up this weekend too, so you're going to want to make sure that you are subscribed. Also, hit that like button one more time on the way out, and do not forget to watch the college football recruiting show this afternoon at 5 o'clock Eastern. We'll see you then.